Emani Bates. Once labeled the next big thing, he had high school numbers that felt unreal, dropping nearly 30 a game as a freshman and then going off for over 32 a night as a sophomore. He wasn't just good, he was everywhere. Sports Illustrated even threw him on the cover like he was a lock for stardom. People were calling him a future #1 pick before he could vote. Then came Memphis. He was only 17, the youngest in Division I, but the numbers plummeted. Under 10 points a game, under 4 boards. And his shooting percentages didn't help. Injuries didn't either. A messed up finger and back pain pulled him out of rhythm. And just like that, the draft buzz started fading. At Eastern Michigan, he put up better numbers. 19 points, close to 6 boards, but the issues were still there. Shot selection, efficiency, all that stuff scouts love to pick apart. Plus, 2 suspensions. One tied to a gun charge that got dropped later. Didn't exactly help his image. He still got drafted, but late, 49th by Cleveland. A 2-way contract split his time between the Cavs and the G League. After 25 NBA games and a meniscus surgery, his future's still foggy. A 25-point game was a flash, but flashes don't build careers. LiAngelo Ball. Part of that wild Chino Hills team with his brothers, he was dropping bombs in high school, scoring over 30 a game as a senior, including monster nights, like 72 points. He led all of California in scoring and had games where defenders looked like furniture. That team went 35-0, crowned mythical champs, and the hype train left the station at full speed. But unlike his brothers, the path derailed fast. He was only a 3-star recruit, not even ranked in the top 200 nationally. He still signed with UCLA, but then the shoplifting incident in China happened. That arrest led to an indefinite suspension, and he withdrew from the school before ever playing a single official game. Declared for the draft in 2018, but he didn't hear his name. Not surprising at that point. He went to Lithuania and put up around 13 points a game, but didn't really turn heads. Then came the Junior Basketball Association, where he dropped ridiculous stat lines, averaging over 52 points in some games, but the level of competition made it hard to take seriously. He signed a few training camp deals with Detroit and Charlotte, but never touched the floor in an actual NBA game. In the G League, he averaged under 5 points over 31 games. His short run in Mexico ended with an ankle injury. Now he's doing music, signed a $13 million deal, and dropped a song that went viral. Basketball, that chapter's done. Scowl, once hyped as the next big man to dominate the league, he had scouts drooling with that frame. 6'10", with a 7'2" wingspan and soft shooting touch. He came out of high school averaging 26 points, 12 boards, and over 4 blocks. Top 2 in the country. People threw around Anthony Davis comparisons like it was nothing. Then came Kentucky. Expectations were sky high, and some even projected him as a top overall pick. But he faded fast. In 36 games, he averaged under 7 points and just 3 boards. He lost his starting spot, and even John Calipari called him a paper tiger. That edge they wanted, nowhere to be found. He still got drafted 28th overall in 2016, but not by a team. Banking on stardom, traded to Sacramento, he had a couple seasons averaging around 9 points a night, off the bench, but never built on it. After that, minutes dipped. He bounced from the Kings to the Trailblazers, then mostly disappeared from big league rotations. By 2025, he was stuck on 10-day contracts and G League rosters. He won a G League title, sure, but that unicorn label never came close to sticking. The talent was there, the growth, the toughness. The drive? Not enough. From possible top pick to bench filler and league floater, Scowl showed flashes, but just didn't put it all together. By the way, if you guys want to subscribe, I'm going to be posting every day. Thanks. Anyways, Mikey Williams. The hype around him in high school was wild. He averaged nearly 30 points a game as a freshman at San Ysidro and once dropped 77 in a single night. That game alone broke a San Diego section record and put him on the national radar. Add in over 5 million followers and the first ever high school Puma deal, and he looked like a lock for the league before turning 18, but it spiraled. He committed to Memphis, then everything came crashing after an arrest for firing a gun at a car. The charges were later reduced, and he got probation, but the damage was done. He never suited up for Memphis. After the legal drama, he transferred to UCF and finally saw the court, but not in the way fans hoped. At UCF, he averaged just over 5 points in limited minutes. Shooting percentages were shaky, and he never looked like the explosive scorer from his high school mixtapes. NBA scouts cooled off quickly. By the end of that season, he wasn't even talked about as a second-round pick. Then came the Sacramento State move. Sure, it's a fresh start, but it's a big drop in visibility. Even with Shaq and Mike Bibby around, it's a long climb back to relevance. From viral icon to bench scorer at a mid-major, Mikey's story went from hype machine to cautionary tale. and the NBA feels farther away than ever. Thaun Mook. He was the top point guard in his class and played for multiple powerhouse programs before landing at IMG Academy. Averaging over 16 points and 7 assists his senior year, he was a 5-star lock, running through high school defenses like a glitch in the system. Every major outlet had him listed at the top of the charts for floor generals. Then came Duke. He started most of the season, put up over 10 points and 5 assists a game, and looked comfortable sharing the floor with future pros. His passing was sharp, his speed obvious, but the three-point shot, not there, just under 30% from deep. He went one and done anyway, which backfired hard. He became the first Duke player to leave early and go undrafted. Milwaukee gave him a shot on a 2-way deal. It ended with 3 games played and less than 2 minutes per appearance. After getting waived, Houston picked him up but never used him. G League stints followed. Some bright moments, but nothing game-changing. Then came the World Tour, Dominican Republic, Canada, Turkey, Azerbaijan. The numbers hovered around 10 points and 4 assists, but the efficiency dropped. He shot under 35% from the field, barely above 17 from 3. The vision was always there, but the lack of growth and shooting cost him real NBA footing. From number 1 point guard to chasing overseas contracts, Duval's hype just never translated. Cliff Alexander. Coming out of Curie High School in Chicago, he was a beast, ranked top 5 nationally, even climbing as high as number 2 on some boards. He wasn't just dunking on kids. He was dropping triple doubles with 30 points, 24 rebounds, and 15 blocks. He took home every major award, including Naismith Prep Player of the Year and Mr. Basketball USA. The comparisons to Amari weren't thrown around lightly. Then came Kansas. Expectations were huge. He was named Big 12 preseason co-freshman of the year before touching the court, but it didn't last. His season was cut short after just 28 games due to an NCAA eligibility investigation. Then, to top it off, he hurt his knee during pre-draft workouts. He went undrafted in 2015. Portland picked him up on a 2-year deal, but he only played 8 games, averaging just over a point. He bounced to the D-League, now the G League, where he put up decent numbers with Erie and a few other teams, but nothing game-changing. A short 10-day deal with Brooklyn led to no minutes. He spent the next few years playing for teams all over the world: France, Germany, Korea, Lebanon, Venezuela. The skill set just didn't evolve. No jumper, no real post moves, and the athletic edge wasn't enough. From 5-star dominance to a global journeyman, Alexander's story is another reminder that raw power in high school doesn't guarantee NBA longevity. Julian Newman. He was lighting up varsity scoreboards in 5th grade, while most kids his age were still learning how to shoot on a 10-foot hoop. At just 4'5", he was putting up 12 points and 11 assists a game and made Florida's assist leaderboard. Then a highlight video exploded with millions of views, landing him everywhere, from Sports Illustrated to talk shows. By middle school, he was averaging nearly 20 points and 10 assists. At 13, he hit 1,000 varsity points. Then came the 52-point game at a national camp against top talent. It racked up over 13 million views and solidified his viral legend. In high school, the scoring never stopped. He totaled over 6,000 career points by graduation, ranking 4th all-time nationally. But the buzz didn't turn into scholarships. No Division I offers, none, just noise. The hype was louder than the skill set. He ended up at Bethesda University, a tiny NCAA school, not even NCAA. In his debut, he missed all 6 shots in a 109-23 loss. Through 3 games, he played under 12 minutes per contest and averaged 3 points while shooting under 17%. Size, skill development, and real competition caught up to him. 5'6" and 141 pounds doesn't go far when the defenders are taller, stronger, and faster. Julian was a walking mixtape. But when the music stopped, there wasn't much left. Viral fame, but no real path to the league. Harry Giles, the number 1 recruit in his class, he looked like a future NBA star before he ever left high school. He was dominating at Wesleyan Christian and then moved to Oak Hill, putting up nearly 24 points and over 12 boards as a junior. But knee injuries hit hard, first as a sophomore, then a brutal ACL tear just before his senior season. That set the tone for everything that came after. He's still committed to Duke, but his time there was forgettable. Missed the first semester recovering, then averaged under 4 points and 4 rebounds in just over 11 minutes a game. He only started 6 times. The flashes were there, but the motor and explosiveness weren't. After that short season, he declared for the draft anyway. Taken 20th overall and traded to Sacramento, he missed his entire rookie year recovering again. Over 2 seasons with the Kings, he averaged around 7 points and 4 rebounds, but never found consistency. After stints with the Blazers, Nets, and Lakers, the minutes got shorter and the impact smaller. He never started more than a handful of games in any season. Injuries kept piling up. Another ligament tear in 2022, and his path veered off. He bounced around G League teams and eventually signed with Shaanxi in China. He had the frame, the touch, and the early hype, but his body never let him catch up. What could have been elite turned into a long list of setbacks. Seventh Woods, the mixtape legend who broke the internet at 14, dunking and dazzling in middle school like he was prepping for the league by sophomore year. That early hype crowned him the best 14-year-old in the country. He earned South Carolina Mr. Basketball honors, dropped nearly 19 points a game as a senior, and put up consistent numbers throughout high school. He won gold with Team USA and collected over 2,000 points before stepping onto a college court. Then came North Carolina. As a freshman, he played every game on a title-winning team, but the minutes were short and the numbers were lower, barely over 1 point and 1 assist per game. A stress fracture in year 2 stalled momentum, and by year 3, even with more court time, the impact remained small. After 3 years, he transferred to South Carolina, where he started 13 games and averaged just over 5 points. He used the extra COVID year at Morgan State, but still couldn't break out, under 5 points a game on sub 40% shooting. No NBA interest followed. In 2023, he signed in Ireland, scored 22 in the Cup final, won MVP, and added another stop in Ecuador in 2024. From mixtape phenom to overseas scorer, Wood's journey shows what happens when viral promise meets real-world depth charts, injuries, and pressure. The bounce was always there. The breakout never came. Quay Parker, he had a 45-inch vertical and dunks that turned him into a YouTube regular before he turned 18. Ranked as a 4-star recruit and placed in ESPN's top 100 for the class of 2016, he committed to Tennessee with real expectations, not as a top scorer, but as the high flyer who could energize any gym. At Wesleyan Christian, he was known more for his viral highlight reels than his all-around game. But once he got to Tennessee, the buzz didn't follow him on the court. He played in 25 games as a freshman and only averaged 1 point per game in just over 8 minutes. A crowded backcourt didn't help. There were simply better guards ahead of him, and he wasn't the type to force his way into the offense. A 5-point game against East Tennessee State ended up being the peak of his time in Knoxville. After that, he moved down the ladder, first to Cape Fear Community College, then on to North Carolina A&T. He got more playing time, showed his athleticism, but the production never really popped. The shooting didn't improve, and scouts moved on. No G League buzz, no Summer League nods. Just the slow fade from viral phenom to forgotten name. Quay could dunk with the best of them, but the rest of the game never caught up. The highlights were loud, but the stat sheet stayed quiet. Cam Reddish, ranked 3rd in his class, Mr. Pennsylvania basketball, and part of that loaded Duke squad with Zion and RJ. The build was tailor-made for the league. 6'8", smooth handle, projectable shooting stroke. Coming into college, he looked like the prototype wing every team wanted. But at Duke, the production didn't match the promise. He averaged just over 13 points per game, shot under 36%, and disappeared in stretches. Injuries and passive play drew attention. Analysts called him raw, inconsistent, and lacking assertiveness. He still went 10th overall in the draft to Atlanta. His rookie year was his most productive, over 10 points per game in nearly 27 minutes. But he never broke through. The shooting never leveled up. The playmaking stayed flat, and he was always just one rotation mistake from getting yanked. His efficiency dipped, and so did his role. He bounced to the Knicks, where he never really fit, then Portland, where he showed brief flashes, then landed with the Lakers. In his final season there, he averaged just over 3 points and was waived in March. In 6 seasons, 4 teams, and over 250 games, he averaged 8.5 points on under 40% shooting. He had the tools. Everyone saw them, but no development curve ever really came. No consistent defense, no reliable scoring, and no clear fit. Reddish went from franchise hope to depth chart afterthought, and it happened fast. Josh Selby, once crowned the #1 player in the country by rivals, he averaged 32 points, 7 assists, and 5 boards in high school, and was the face of Lake Clifton in Baltimore. He had the bounce, the handle, and the shot, all wrapped in highlight reel buzz. He was a McDonald's All-American, won the dunk contest, and had the top programs chasing him. Kansas won out. Then came the eligibility mess. He was suspended 9 games for improper benefits tied to Carmelo Anthony's advisor. By the time he finally played, the rhythm was off. Across 26 games, he averaged just under 8 points with modest efficiency. A far cry from lottery-level dominance. Still, he entered the 2011 draft and fell to 49th overall. Memphis took a shot. He played 38 games, mostly in garbage time, and averaged barely over 2 points a night. Summer League gave a spark. He won co-MVP with Damian Lillard, but it didn't carry over. After that, it was a suitcase career. D-League stints with Reno, Canton, Maine, then a whirlwind of overseas stops. China, Croatia, Israel, Turkey, Korea, Argentina, New Zealand, Lithuania. He never found NBA traction again. Selby had elite prep numbers, but inconsistent college play and questions around his game kept him from sticking. From top recruit to global journeyman, his story shows just how fast hype can vanish. Jaylen Hands. He was a 5-star recruit with serious flash, nearly 30 points a game in high school, highlight dunks, and a Ball-less Life dunk contest that helped launch him into the national spotlight. Ranked as one of the top 3-point guards in the class of 2017, he headed to UCLA with expectations riding high. As a freshman, he put up just under 10 points per game and came off the bench for part of the year. A foot injury slowed him, but the tools were still obvious: athleticism, bounce, and a developing jumper. By his sophomore season, he was the full-time starter, averaging over 14 points and leading the Pac-12 in assists. He earned second-team All-Pac-12 honors and looked ready for the next step. He declared for the 2019 draft and was picked 56th overall. Not exactly where 5-star talent aims to land. The Clippers traded his rights to Brooklyn, and then he bounced to the G League. With Long Island, he averaged 11 points, but never got the NBA call-up. Detroit eventually renounced his rights, and that was the end of that chap. Since then, he's played in Serbia, Germany, Belgium, Greece, and now Italy. His numbers have been solid, especially in Greece, where he averaged nearly 14 points per game, but he never broke through as a consistent NBA-level guard. The tools were there, but the dominance never followed. Another case of early hype that fizzled before reaching the league. Thaun Mook, once labeled the next unicorn, he exploded onto the scene as a 7-footer with a fluid handle, perimeter shot, and shot-blocking instincts. Born in South Sudan, in 1997, he moved through Australia and Canada, eventually averaging over 22 points, 13 rebounds, and 4 blocks in 53 games as a high school sophomore. He was named Virginia's Gatorade Player of the Year and carried a 5-star label throughout his prep career. He bypassed college altogether. Thanks to a rule loophole in academic qualifications, he entered the 2016 NBA draft straight out of prep school, making him the first high school player drafted in over a decade. Milwaukee took him 10th overall. Early flashes came in Summer League, where he averaged over 14 points and nearly 10 boards. But over 3 seasons with Milwaukee, he never truly clicked, putting up around 4 points and under 3 rebounds in limited minutes. He had a short stint in Detroit with a career-best 5.5 points per game, then played 8 games with Cleveland before being waived. Post-NBA, he bounced around the globe: Jerusalem, China, Lebanon, and the G League again. He won titles and MVPs abroad, but never sniffed an NBA return. His physical tools were undeniable, but he lacked strength, offensive skill, and the development to handle NBA physicality. Thaun had the mixtapes, the wingspan, and the intrigue, but never put it all together. He went from top 10 pick to international journeyman, fueled by hype, held back by the missing pieces. Nico Mannion, born in Siena, Italy, and raised in Arizona, he came into the spotlight early thanks to his basketball lineage and high school dominance. At Pinnacle High School, he averaged between 20 and 30 points per game and added around 6 assists. He earned McDonald's All-American honors and was considered the #1 point guard in the class of 2019. At Arizona, he started all 32 games in his freshman season and averaged 14 points, just over 5 assists, and nearly 3 rebounds. He shot under 40% from the field and just above 32% from deep. Despite some standout performances, including a game-winning double-double, questions about his shooting consistency and athleticism followed him into the draft. He was selected 48th overall by the Warriors in 2020 and signed a 2-way deal. In 30 games that season, he averaged 4 points, 2 assists, and 1 rebound, shooting just over 34%. In the G League, however, he excelled, posting over 19 points and nearly 7 assists across 9 games. Afterward, he took his talents overseas. In Italy, he helped Virtus Bologna win the Eurocup, later joining Baskonia in Spain, and then leading Varese with over 20 points per game. In 2024, he signed with Olimpia Milano. While his NBA stint was short-lived, Mannion's court vision and playmaking helped him become a top performer in Europe, carving out a steady pro career abroad. Marcus Levette. He exploded onto the scene as a freshman at Providence High School, averaging over 31 points per game, with 6 40-point outings and one 57-point explosion. The mixtapes followed fast. Ballast Life made him a household name in prep basketball circles. By his senior year at Morgan Park, he was still putting up big numbers. 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists per game, leading his team to the Class 3A state semifinals. He committed to St. John's as a consensus 4-star recruit and redshirted his first year due to academic qualification rules. When he finally hit the court, he looked the part, averaging nearly 16 points and close to 4 assists in 26 games. He earned Big East All-Rookie honors, but then came the left knee sprain. He tried to play through it, but eventually needed surgery and left the team mid-season in February to pursue a professional career. He went undrafted in 2019 and didn't receive a summer league invite. That was the biggest sign. Despite strong college production, he never touched an NBA roster. Instead, he headed to Serbia, putting up over 20 points per game. Then came stops in Turkey, Portugal, Finland, China. Solid production overseas, but nothing that brought him back to NBA radar. Injuries, timing, and a crowded guard market pushed him out. The talent was there, but the road got blocked, and his path shifted from NBA hopeful to international scorer. Scottie Hobson, a 5-star recruit in the class of 2008, he was ranked as the number 2 shooting guard in the nation and top 5 overall by major outlets. He starred at the University of Tennessee, where he made an immediate impact, averaging just over 9 points as a freshman and finishing his junior year with 17 points per game while starting every contest. He was named first-team All-SEC by league coaches and looked poised for an NBA future. But when the 2011 draft came, he wasn't selected. That was the turning point. Despite his SEC resume, he didn't hear his name. Instead, he went overseas, first to Greece, then to Israel and Turkey, where he put up strong numbers, including nearly 18 points per game in Israel and over 15 in the EuroLeague with Anadolu Efes. In 2014, he signed late with Cleveland and finally made his NBA debut, but only played 2 games. Short stints followed with Charlotte, New Orleans, Houston, and Sacramento, but none stuck. His biggest domestic splash came with Sioux Falls in the G League, where he dropped 52 points in a single game. Hobson became a certified star overseas, especially in New Zealand and Australia. He averaged over 19 points for the Breakers, won a title with Melbourne, and earned all NBL honors. But even with 10-day NBA deals from Dallas and Oklahoma City, he played just 4 NBA games total. He had the scoring, the consistency, but the NBA never gave him a real runway. Kyrie Walker, the human highlight reel by age 14, the walking dunk tape by 15, and by 17, a 5-star phenom with the full menu of Power 5 offers. In his freshman year at Moreau Catholic, he averaged 31 points per game, racked up national awards, and became the Max Prep's National Freshman of the Year. By sophomore year, he transferred to Hillcrest Prep, landed in the top 5 nationally, and committed to Arizona State before backing off the pledge. Then came the fork in the road. Rather than go the NCAA route, he opted for Chameleon BX, an NBA pre-draft training program with no competition-level games. By the time the 2021 draft rolled around, he was largely invisible on the radar. No college stats, no pro tape, no summer league reps. Unsurprisingly, he went undrafted. He fought back, joining the G League's Capital City Go-Go, averaging a modest 7 points in 12 minutes per game. Overseas, he found more rhythm, 18 points per game in Greece, a CEBL title in Canada, and then Mongolia. Yes, Mongolia. Basketball's global now, but that's still not a great sign. Walker's story is clear. Early athletic dominance without developmental structure can leave even elite talents adrift. His path was paved with dunks and detours, but not a single NBA minute. Jordan McCabe. He was supposed to be the next wizard with a basketball. By 12, he'd already been on national TV, crossed up grown men for fun, and got drafted by the Harlem Globetrotters. That kind of spotlight burns hot, and it followed him through high school, where he dropped over 2,400 points and got crowned Wisconsin's Mr. Basketball. Scouts had him inside the top 100. Expectations were sky high. Then college happened. At West Virginia, things started okay. He had some flashy moments and even made the Big 12 academic team, but his scoring dipped every year, and his efficiency never got better. He couldn't get his shooting percentage out of the low 30s. By year 3, his role shrank hard. He transferred to UNLV, started strong in year 4 with decent assist numbers, but again, the scoring and efficiency weren't there. His 5th year barely cracked the starting lineup. Despite all that early noise, he never touched the NBA. Went undrafted, didn't even try the G League. Instead, he pivoted straight into coaching. And surprisingly, he's moved fast. West Virginia, then Green Bay, now Grand Canyon. So yeah, he didn't become the next Globetrotter star, but he's coaching college hoops before turning 30. Isaiah Washington. He was the face of New York hoops in 2017, and not just for his scoring. He helped create Jelly Fam, made finger rolls go viral, and pulled up to games like a mixtape on Fast Forward. At St. Raymond's, he averaged 26 points, dropped 54 in one night, and left as the school's all-time scoring leader. Everyone knew his name, and with 4 stars by his name, he committed to Minnesota with major expectations. His freshman season was decent, nearly 9 points a game, some flashy moments, and a Big Ten Freshman of the Week nod. Then it dipped. Sophomore year saw less scoring, more bent. He transferred to Iona, put up better numbers, even recorded a triple-double. By the time he landed at Long Beach State, he was putting up almost 14 points a night, with solid rebounding and assists. Still, no draft buzz. Undrafted in 2021, he didn't push for a G League spot. Instead, he went overseas. Montenegro, Slovakia, Germany, and now France. The numbers got better, especially in Slovakia, where he averaged over 24. But it's clear now, the NBA door never cracked open. Despite all the noise and flash in high school, his college path never had that breakout year. 3 different schools, some solid stats, but nothing explosive enough to push him into the league. Today, he's carved out a real career overseas. But the NBA hype never showed back up. Cassius Stanley. Coming out of Sierra Canyon, he had the rankings, the mixtapes, and the 5-star label. 17 points a night, highlight dunks, and enough bounce to keep gyms buzzing. He chose Duke, and that felt like a launch pad. He started 29 games there, shot nearly 47% from the field, and made the ACC All-Freshman team. But even then, scouts were already calling him raw. He entered the 2020 draft and got taken 54th overall by Indiana. Late second round is already an uphill battle. He landed a 2-way deal, split time with the Pacers and Fort Wayne. 33 total NBA games that season, barely over 7 minutes per game, and shot under 24% from 3. It just didn't stick. Detroit gave him a short run the next year, 9 games, a little more playing time, even started once. The numbers improved, but not enough. He bounced to the G League and stayed there most of the year. Then it was off to Israel, then back to the G League. Now he's in France with Le Portel. So yeah, he's still playing, still putting up numbers, but the NBA dream never really turned into more than a whisper. All the tools, the athleticism, the Duke spotlight, it just didn't translate. Cassius Stanley still hooping, just not on the stage where he once looked destined to shine. Romeo Langford. He came out of Indiana with every box checked. McDonald's All-American, over 3,000 high school points, and ranked among the top 5 in the country. He averaged 30 a night as a senior and looked like a can't-miss wing. Indiana fans were all in when he stayed home for college. At Indiana, he didn't disappoint early. Started every game, dropped over 16 points per night, and even played through a torn thumb ligament. He was clearly talented, but some rough shooting stretches raised eyebrows. That didn't stop Boston from taking him 14th overall in the 2019 draft. Then came the NBA struggle. 3 years with the Celtics, and he never averaged more than 5 points. He had wrist surgery his rookie year, shot under 19% from deep that season, and just never became a reliable option. San Antonio gave him another shot. He got some starts, scored a bit more efficiently, but still didn't stand out. Utah picked him up next, but he didn't make it to opening night. He ended up in the G League, then France, and now he's a free agent. That top 5 high school buzz, it faded fast. He had size, athleticism, and a smooth game, but no consistent 3-point shot, no elite skill to lean on, and the injuries didn't help. Romeo Langford's journey shows that not every lottery pick gets to stay in the league. Some just drift further away with each season. Zion Harmon. At 11, he was already being labeled the best 4th grader in the country. By 7th grade, he was suiting up on the Nike EYBL circuit, playing against high schoolers while most kids his age were still figuring out how to use deodorant. Then came 8th grade at Bowling Green High School, where he led his team to a state title and averaged nearly 17 points a game. That was just the beginning. As a freshman at Adair County, he dropped over 32 points per night and dished nearly 8 assists. The hype machine never let up. He transferred multiple times, bounced around schools, but still had blue blood offers and ranked as a 4-star recruit in the class of 2021. He started college at Bethune-Cookman, where he actually delivered almost 14 points per game, solid 3-point shooting and SWAC Freshman of the Year honors. Then came the move to Seton Hall. It didn't go well, just 3 games, under 5 minutes a night, and not a single point. Now, he's back in the transfer portal. After all that early spotlight, the story shifted. From middle school phenom to college nomad, he's still looking for the right fit. Zion Harmon's journey proves that early fame means nothing without stability, development, and the right opportunity when it actually counts. Brian Bowen, he had all the early signs of being the next big thing. McDonald's All-American, co-MVP at the Jordan Brand Classic, and putting up over 20 points per game at La Lumiere while leading them to a national title. 5-star swingman, chased by schools like Michigan State, Arizona, and Louisville. He picked Louisville, and that's where it all started to fall apart. The FBI bribery scandal swept him into its mess before he ever stepped on the floor. Louisville shut him down. The NCAA gave him nothing but delays. And even after being cleared by the FBI, his college window was closed. He tried South Carolina, but red tape followed him, and he never played a college game. So he went pro, landed in Australia with the Sydney Kings. 6 points a game, decent shooting. Undrafted in 2019, but Indiana gave him a 2-way shot. He tore it up in the G League, averaging over 16 with Fort Wayne, but the NBA minutes never came. Another 2-way deal, then waived. He's been bouncing through the G League ever since. Minnesota's affiliate, then Cleveland, and now Stockton, where he just helped win a title. Solid wing size, decent shooter, good rebounder, but never became the breakout player his high school hype suggested. His career's still going, just not on the stage everyone thought he'd command. If you enjoyed this, I'm going to be posting a lot here. I would greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.